Takadosh Boker Tov Masechet Yevamot Daf 29A1. We were just mentioning, right, that Isur Mitzvah. So we're going off of the Mishnah, and it says over here that Isur Mitzvah and Isur Kedusha, they do Chalitza and not Yibum. Okay? So says the Gemara, V'hamar Rabbi Shimon Shtei Achayot Lo Choltzov Lo Mitevmot. 1 second, according to Shtat Rabbi Shimon, when you have two sisters falling in front of one Yavam, we said that they cannot do Chalitza, neither they can do Yibum. So according to Rabbi Shimon, they should be Pturot legamre from Yibum v'Chalitza. Because why did it say Lo Choltzot V'lo Mityavmot? Right? He says they should be Pturot legamre. So says the Gemara, right, what's actually happening? Really, be'emet, this Chalitza, right, is a Gezerah Mishum Isur Mitzvah De'alma, which means like this. Really, be'emet, they don't even have to do Chalitza whatsoever. Because it's two sisters, you can't do anything. So be'emet, you don't have to do Chalitza at all. But there's a Gezerah Midrabanan, Mishum Isur Mitzvah De'alma, because of a normal case of Mitzvah De'alma, and therefore that's why he says that if they're going to say that Nisur Mitzvah is like an Irva, and therefore it's Patur Mi Chalitza, so therefore he comes and he says that's why they prohibited it, and they said you still have to do Chalitza. Meaning, remember, Isur Irva is Chalitza. Isur Irva is nothing. You're Patur Legam. Isur Mitzvah, Midoraita, you have to do Yibum Chalitza. It's only Midrabanan that you can't do it. So because of that, you have to do Chalitza and not Yibum. So he comes and he says, in order not to make a mistake that Isur Mitzvah is like Isur Irva, so therefore we purposely came over here and said that they have to do Chalitza and not Yibum, even though it's going to be two sisters. Okay? So, no. Mitzvah de Alma is, remember, Isur Mitzvah. Isur Mitzvah is Shniyot Larayot. The secondary. Ateinach Ihi. This is going to be good, right, for the sister herself to do it in Isur Mitzvah. Because really, Be'emet, you should do Chalitza, right, in order to stop making a mistake. But 1 second. What about Achota? Why does she need to do Chalitza? She's not Turah, right? Because just like Achot Zefukata. So says the Gemara, you're right. Gezerah Achota Mishum Letadida. The sister, right, is only going to be because of her. Which means that Chachamim came and they made a decree that the second sister should need Chalitza in order that you should never permit another sister, right, which is the original sister, without Chalitza. So says the Gemara, 1 second, but it's an Irva. So in Irva, we don't make a Gezerah. Meaning like this, if you remember, that's how we started off. By Isur Irva, she's stood up from everything. Isur Mitzvah is the entire thing. That we said that that means you have to do Chalitza because of Isur Irva. So he says, but here it's an Irva. So if it's an Irva, we don't need to make any decree. Irva, right, which is 100% an Irvana person, is Ptura Legamre. So answers the Gemara, Shane Irva, Irva is completely different. What is the reason why Irva is Ptura Legamre? He says because Irva, everybody knows that it's an Irva. Meaning, Isur Mitzvah or other types of things, not everybody knows that it's a Sur, right? Isur Irva, everybody knows that it's a Sur, and because of that, it has a call, which means everybody knows that it's got a voice, it's got a thing, the words are running. So therefore, in this case, where you have one of the Achayot or a Surah, right, only in an Isur Mitzvah, if you're going to come and you're going to permit her without Chalitza, so therefore you're going to permit the other one, and therefore it's going to come a takala. So in order not to get this takala, we came and we said Chalitza on both.
So it's really because of the second one, huh?
Yes.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so says the Mishnah. We're going to be right here. Okay, we've got Reuven, Shimon, and Levi are three brothers. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, three brothers. Leah and Rachel are two sisters. That's over here, these two women. Reuven takes Rachel, and Shimon takes Leah. Now, Levi is without a wife. Okay? And Shimon dies without children. That's why the Aleph is by Shimon. So Shimon dies without children. Now, she falls in front of Yibum, right? So Leah falls in front of the brothers of Yibum. Levi does Ma'amar Beleah. Remember, Ma'amar is, right? Ma'amar is the Rabbanan. Yeah, Kiddushin, the Rabbanan. Right? And then afterwards, Reuven dies. Okay, now Rachel falls in front of Levi to Yibum. So one more time. So Levi did Ma'amar to Leah, and then now Rachel falls in front of him. Okay, so in our Mishnah, we're going to see Bet Shammai says, right, Ishto imo, Klomar. Once Levi does Ma'amar to Leah, he's like his wife, and therefore he's allowed to stay with her. Right now, Rachel, which is Achota, doesn't do anything. Why? It's a Chotisha. So therefore it's Erva, and therefore no Chalitza, no nothing. But Hillel says, Motzi et Ishto. He has to get rid of his wife with a get, because he holds that the Ma'amar does not do a Kinyan Gamur to make him his wife, and therefore you have to give a get lafkia Ma'amar and Chalitza lesalek mimena zikat ha'ibum. So that's Shitat Bet Shammai. Bet Hillel, sorry, Bet Hillel. Right, 1 minute. Let's see the Mishnah again. So now let's read inside. Let's read inside. Yeah, I just give you the picture so you understand the case before we read inside. Says the Mishnah, Shlosha achim, 3 brothers, Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Shenayim mehem, 2 of them, right? Shnayim, which is Reuven and Shimon, are married to 2 sisters. Nesuin shtei achiyot. Ve'echad mufne. Levi is panui, he's mufne. Met echad mibalei achayot. The one of the ones that was married to one of the sisters, let's say Reuven, dies without children. Ve'asaba mufne ma'amar. So Levi does ma'amar to one of them, to that one basically, which in this case is Leah. Okay. Ve'achar kach met achiv hasheni. And then the second brother Shimon dies without children, or here it did the opposite, but it's okay. Okay. Bet Shammai Omrim, Bet Shammai says, Ishto imo. What does that mean? The wife of Levi, which is the one of the doing the Ma'amar, she stays with him. Valezu, and the other one, Tetse, right? She's going to go out, Mishum Achotisha, because of Achotisha. So she's completely exempt of anything. Bet Hillel Omrim, Bet Hillel says, Motzi et Ishto beget u'chalitza. He has to get rid of his wife by giving a get and chalitza. The eshet achiv, and the other, right, the other wife, b'chalitza, with chalitza also. The zoyi shamru, and this is what we said, oy lo al ishto, ve oy lo al eshet achiv. Woe to his wife, and woe to his to the brother's wife. Because here basically what's happening is now it's complete. Now they lose out completely. Because beforehand, at least, we would have said that, okay, he could be Mekayim Mibum with one of them at least. Here now, nothing whatsoever. So says the Gemara, okay, Zohi. When we say the words Zohi Shamru, right? So he comes now and it says as follows. Right? Zohi, this is the case. So when it says now Zohi, so it says like this, Zohi, this we just said in this case, right? Lemute, what is it coming to exclude? Lemute hach Rabbi Yeshua. This comes to exclude that which Rabbi Yeshua says. This is Rabbi Yeshua's on Kuftet Amud Aleph. That it says the law of dinan kavate, right? That we don't do like him. Ela ik Rabbi Gamliel or Rabbi Eliezer, or like Rabbi Gamliel, or like Rabbi Eliezer. So basically like this. This is the machloket that later on there's a Mishnah Kuftet Amud Aleph. Okay, there it says the Mishnah is talking about a case where 2 brothers were married to 2 sisters. One of them, right, was older, right? So the Nisuim is Mina Torah. The second one was a Yitoma Ktana, which the Nisuim is only the Rabbanan. So now the husband of the Achot HaGdolah dies without children, and she falls in front of the brother to do Yibum, right? Who the Bala Achot HaKtana. Now the Nisuya of the Achot HaKtana is only the Rabbanan. Now Zikata of the Achot HaGdolah is Mina Torah. So Rabbi Yeshua is modeh that in that Mishnah that the Yavam has to get rid of the Ktana with a get and Eshet Achiv with Chalitza. Because since Mina Torah, she's not considered Ishto, right, Kenesua. So therefore she's prohibited to him like Achot Zekuka. And so too, he cannot do Yibum because Midrabanan, it's Achot Ishto. So therefore it's like a catch-22. Midoraita, it's going to be what? It's going to be that he wasn't married to the first one. So since the Midoraita, right, he says, so therefore it's going to become prohibited like Achot Zekukato. Now the second one is Rabbanan, it's Achot Ishto. So for he can't stay married not to the first wife and not to the second wife. Rabbi Yoshua says, Oy lo al ishto ve oy lo al eshet achi. So that is the words, the terminology. Woe to his wife, because now he has to divorce his wife. He was already married. Now he has to divorce his wife. Ve oy lo al eshet achi. And woe to eshet achi as well, because now also Shadachiv now, the kid does not do anything. Right? That is the Shita of Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Eliezer, they argue in the Mishnah, and they say each one there has another Shita over there. Okay? And it was actually brought on Yudchet Amud Aleph above. And it says that's the Zohi coming to teach you that only here do we say such a thing, but not in the case of Rabbi Yoshua, because halacha is not like Rabbi Yoshua. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar. Lo teima ma'amar lebet shamai koneh kinyan gamur. We're not going to say that it's going to acquire it kinyan gamur. Dibae, yeah, dibae leapuke sagila begita. Because if you want, you could get rid of her with a get. It says ela ma'amar lebet shamai no koneh lelitchot betzara bilvad. So he says, but rather according to ma'amar, the ma'amar of bet shamai is not going to acquire it, but only just to push off the tzara, which means the ma'amar helps for the Yevama, only that it's considered like an erva, and therefore it pushes off the zikav, the ibum. But be'emet, if he wants to get rid of her, right, all he needs to do is give her a get, and he doesn't have to do chalitza. Okay? So he comes and he says, we're not going to say that, yeah? That's what we're saying one more time. Ma'amar lebet shamai, right? Don't tell me the ma'amar for bet shamai is koneh kinyan gamur, and therefore what? And therefore you don't need chalitza. That's incorrect. You would still need chalitza if you wanted to get rid of this ba'alat ma'amar. But rather the ma'amar only does for bet shamai that it's only going to be considered a kinyan with respect to permit her tzara without doing anything. That is considered an irva, and therefore you don't need to do yibum. Yeah? So says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Avin, says Rabbi Avin, Afananami Tinina, we also learned it in the Mishnah Bav. When we talk about two sisters, right, falling in front of two brothers, and the brothers went and they got married to them. So it says Bet Shammai, only Bet Shammai says Yikaimu, right? Says the Gemara, Yikaimu, what does it mean Yikaimu? Yikaimu in Lechatchila lo, which means only after they did a maaseh and they got married to them, so then they could stay married to them. But Lechatchila, they're not allowed to do Yibum. Right? Obviously, they're not allowed to do Yibum Lechatchila. Right? Kafteta Mubet, 29b. Yeah? You're right? But not only a din Lechatchila, it's din b'diavad, no Lechatchila. Now says the Gemara Kafteta Mubet. V'yisa kadaitach. Now if you're going to tell me Ma'amar lebet Shammai koneh kinyan gamur, the Ma'amar according to Shida bet Shammai does a kinyan gamur. Ze ya'aseh Ma'amar v'yikneh. Ze ya'aseh Ma'amar v'yikneh. Each one should only just do Ma'amar and he's going to acquire. And therefore each one could do Yibum to the Ba'alat Ma'amar. So therefore also Bet Shammai did not permit so. So therefore you could learn from here that even according to that Shita, it's not 100% that it's considered, a ma'amar is not 100% considered that they did the yibum. Okay? That's what we're trying to prove over here. That means according to Bet Shammai, it's not 100% that ma'amar does yibum. It's just a leniency that if they already did something, if they already went in, and they already got married, they already did the yibum, I don't tell them to go out. So it says the Gemara, elamai, right? But rather, what are we talking about? The ma'amar, according to Bet Shammai, is not going to be koneh kinyan gamur, right? Elamai. So it's going to push it off completely. So he says, so 1 second, if there, so each one should just do ma'amar, right? And therefore each one could afterwards come and do the yibum, right, to that woman, right? One more time, if you're going to tell me the ma'amar is 100% a marriage, so therefore when you have two brothers, right, that have to do yibum to two sisters, we just said lechatchila, they shouldn't do the yibum, right? But here, why don't you just do that each one does a ma'amar? One is going to do a ma'amar to one sister, another one is going to do the ma'amar to the other sister, and then by doing the ma'amars, afterwards they could do the yibum. So he says, elamai lecha. So what are you going to tell me? Ma'amar de hetera dache, the surah lo dache. When you do a ma'amar of heter, which means that there was a heter to the yavam, from the yavama to the yavam, so then that's going to push away the sister from the zikah of the yibum. Why? Because the ma'amar was done beheter. It was done with permission. From the beginning, there was no problem of doing a ma'amar. You understand? But here, the ma'amar was done be'isur. Because lechatchila, if you have two sisters falling in front of two brothers, right? So technically speaking, you could say to yourself, what's the problem? Each one takes a sister of Gamanu. The Mishnah already said, they do chalitza. But what happens if they didn't do that and they got married to them? So says the Gemara, if they already got married to them, says Bet Shammai, Yikaimu, right? They stay married to them. right? So now, but lechatchila, no. So now the question is, why can't each of them just do ma'amar? Now, if you're going to tell me they did ma'amar, so then what's the problem? Do ma'amar, and then afterwards do yibum, right? To the one that you did ma'amar to. So says the Gemara, no, you know why? He says, because since you did it be surah, it's not going to push off the sister. Hachanami, so to here, ma'amar afilu leman da'amar, ma'amar kone kinyan gamur, ma'amar de teira kani, de surah lo kani. When is ma'amar kone kinyan gamur? Only if you did it beheter. If you did ma'amar be'isur, it's not going to apply. It's as if that you didn't do anything. Why was it? It was done be'isur. So for once it's going to be done be'isur, it does not help. Okay? So it comes out that there is no raya whatsoever to the words of Rabbi Elazar. Okay? Now the Gemara says, Ravashi matnihachi. Ravashi comes and he taught like this. Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar, Lo teima ma'amar lebet Shammai dachi d'chiyah gemura. Don't come and tell me that according to Bet Shammai, ma'amar is going to push off the Yevamah completely, d'chiyah gemura. The tzarata chalitza nami lo baya, and the tzara of this woman does not even need chalitza, ela doche u'meshayerhu. But rather it's going to be doche b'mitzat, which means, what do we mean b'mitzat? It's going to be doche, that it's not going to prohibit the ba'alat ma'amar on the Yavam. But it doesn't mafkia legamre zikata, and therefore she still needs chalitza. So one more time, if you're going to tell me right now that the person did ma'amar, if he did ma'amar, so the other sister, the other one is completely p'tura, right? Why? Because if you do 1 to 1, let's say you don't have to do anything to the other one. But here though, what we're doing is it's like chetzi. To do the ba'alat ma'amar, it's considered a kinyan gamur, that when this guy came and he did ma'amar, right, to this woman, so now he acquired her. And now it permits him, to do yibum to her. It's like palgin and dibura. You remember we spoke about this? That you do half-half. So mitzad, the concept of that you could still get married to the ba'alat ma'amar, that you're right, it did do a good kinyan. But to do with the concept of exempting from chalitza legamre, that it does not do. And then we're going to learn in Amar Rabbi Avin, right, what we're going to do right now.
Progress.
So Kakadosh, we're continuing now in Kaftet Mubet 29b, where it says Amar Rabbi Avin. Says Rabbi Avin, Afananami Tanine, we also learned it in the Mishnah Bav, Kavav Mudalev 26a, where it said the two sisters that fall in front of two brothers, and the two brothers went and they got married to them. What do we say? Bet Shammai omrim yekaimu. Bet Shammai come and they say yekaimu. Yekaimu meaning that if they already got married to them, they did the yibum, so they could stay with them. But lechatchila lo. Now, if you're going to tell me ma'amar according to Bet Shammai is doched d'chiyah gemura, it's going to be completely pushed off a d'chiyah. So why is it that Bet Shammai come and they say the lechatchila they can't do yibum to the two sisters? Ze ya'aseh ma'amar v'yidche, right? V'ze ma'amar v'yidche. Each one should do ma'amar. By doing the ma'amar, you're going to push off the other one completely, and therefore there's no problem whatsoever. So therefore, since even Bet Shammai they only permitted b'diavad and not lechatchila, so therefore we learn from here that the ma'amar does not really 100% push off, right? Dechia gemura. So says the Gemara, ve'ela haktani. But 1 second, we learned Bet Shammai only. Bet Shammai says ishto imo, that the wife stays with him. Ve'halezu, and the other sister tese mishum achot isha, is going to go up because of achot isha. And but rather Yevamah de chazia lechulehu chazia lemiktzata. Yevamah de lo chazia lechulehu lo chazia lemiktzata. But rather like this. When did the Mishnah come and say to every single one of the brothers, right, to do the ma'amar with one of the sisters and then afterwards to come and to do yibum? Because a Yevamah which is fitting for all dinei yibum, whether yibum or chalitza, so then chazia lemiktzata, which means so then she's fitting for also ma'amar. However, though when you have a case of a Yevamah, which is not fitting for all dinei yibum, because you can't do yibum, so therefore lo chazia lemiktzata, it does not fit, it does not help the ma'amar. And therefore, since the two sisters that fall in front of the two brothers are not fitting for Yibum, so therefore that's why ma'amar does not help to push off the other one. Because it's not fitting for Yibum. It has to, you remember we learned the concept of chalitza psula, which means it's a chalitza grua, not the best chalitza, because you couldn't do the Yibum. In order for it to be a good chalitza, you have the choice, either Yibum or chalitza. If you cannot do Yibum, and you only do chalitza, that's called chalitza psula, chalitza grua. Meaning it's not a good chalitza, it's a chalitza. And therefore we said over there, when you do chalitza grua, every single one of the brothers have to do the chalitza. Here it's the same type of order of idea. If right now you could do the yibum, so therefore the ma'amar helps. But if you could not do the yibum, So then ma'amar does not help. Says the Gemara by Rabba comes and he has asked the following question. Ma'amar, according to Bet Shammai, nisuin oseh or irusin oseh? According to Bet Shammai, what does ma'amar do? Does ma'amar do irusin or nisuin? Remember, the ma'amar is actually kiddushin, right? It's actually kiddushin, which was you're giving kesef or shtar. Okay, but according to Bet Shammai, what does it do? Does it do irusin or does it do nisuin? So says the Gemara, Elmaleh Abaye says, what's the nafkamina? What's the nafkamina whether it does irusin or nisuin? If you're going to tell me now it's to inherit her, or to become tameh to her, or to do hafarat nedarim. Remember, by the husband, it's always called hafarat nedarim, not hatarat nedarim. The rabbi does hatarat nedarim, mutalach, mutalach, mutalach. The husband does hafarat nedarim. Hafarat nedarim is retroactively, he's mafer the entire neder that it never took place. The rabbi has to come and have to be matir the neder. Here, he doesn't, the husband just said, I don't want it, that's called hafarat nedarim. So it says here, hashta arusa be'alma. 1 second. What do we learn by a regular arusa? Tani Rabbi Chia, ishto arusa, lo onen, velo mitamela. If right now a person went and he got married to an arusa regila, meaning that he got engaged according to the Torah, he did kiddushin, but not nisuin. What do we say over there? We said over there that right now if she dies, right, he does not have any dinya, any nut. There's nothing. Velo mitamela, he's also not allowed to become tamet to her. Bechen he, the same halacha for her. Lo onen, she doesn't become an onen. Velo mitamelo, she doesn't become tmeah for him. Okay, what does that mean? It's lav davka. Okay, fine, but anyway, it's only by males and not females, right? It's only by males and not females. Okay, lo onen velo mitamelo. Meta, if she dies, and a yorsha. Metu, if he dies, she gets a ketubah. Avad v'ma'amar mibae. So therefore, you have a question bichlal to do with ma'amar. But says the Gemara ve'ela, but rather linyan mesira lachupa mai. But to do with the mesira lachupa, what does that mean? The safek is that he says over here, because the Gemara is going to explain. Okay, nisuin oseh ve'lo baya mesira lachupa. Do we say that it's considered like nisuin, and therefore the ba'alat ma'amar does not need to be given over to the chuppah? Or dilma erusin oseh baya mesira lachupa, and she does need to do mesira lachupa. Okay. What does that mean exactly? It says over here, the safek is, do you need a chuppah in order to finish off the nisuin of a Yevamah or not? The chuppah needs to be done with askama of the rusa, or if she's with the shoot of the father, askama tavia. This is ebiti natati lishazeh. From the fact that it says ebiti natati lishazeh, the father, or, right, with the father of devarim. Wow, it's a week. Yeah, it says, biti natati lishazeh. I went and I gave, right, my daughter to this man. So from here we learn that it has to be b'askamat or avia or b'askamata. That means a person cannot come and get married, sorry, against a woman's will. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to say as follows. Elmaleh comes and he says, hashta lo avad b'ma'amar. Right, 1 second. Even in a case where a person did not do ma'amar, what's written? The Yevamah has relations with her. How? Bal korcha, against her will. So ava mamar, now you have a question about mamar. In a normal case, we know that it has to be either baskamat isha or baskamat abba shela imiktana, right? So now 1 second, right? We need haskama. Now he says like this: by yibum, do you need haskama? We already learned 20 pages ago already, right? We already learned that yibum does not bal korcha. Yibum is already bal korcha. If yibum is bal korcha, and therefore she doesn't have a say in the matter, so for you have a question now about ma'amar. At the end of the day, what's the safek then? For sure, the Yavam could finish off bal korcha. You don't need the yibum. You don't need the knisa lechupa. So Elmaleh says, "Shani omer," that I'm going to say, "Kol ha'oseh ma'amar b'bimuto parcha mimenu zikat yevamim v'chala aleh zikat ilusim." He says, "No, you know why? Here, it was actually a din d'Rabbanan that changed it from a kula to a chumra. What's the kula to the chumra? The kula to the chumra is that beforehand, right? Beforehand, it was a zikah, a yibum. Beforehand, it was a question of yibum. Yibum could be done against her will. Now, all of a sudden, he changed it to ma'amar. The second that he did ma'amar, now he changed it to what's called a kiddushin and nirusin, kiddushin and nisuin. Because of that, now he comes and he says that's a safek. Meaning like this: if he would have left it as a yibum, there's no question. Yibum could be done by l'kurcha, and then there's no questions asked. But once he did a ma'amad, and ma'amad is like a kiddushin or irusin, so for now he switched the category. Beforehand he was doing ibum to this woman. Now he changed. He's doing kiddushin and irusin to this woman. So for now, that's why the Gemara has a safek. Now, do you still have to come and do the chuppah or not do the chuppah? Says the Gemara, right? So he comes and he says, anybody that does ma'amad b'ivim tov, paracham minu zika yevamim v'chal aleh zika terusin. Tashema, we're going to now, right, mai. So what's the halacha then? Right? What is the halacha according to Bet Shammai? Does it do irusin or nisuin? So Tashema, shomeret yavam, ben yavam echa ben shni yavim, shomeret yavam, whether it's going to be to one yavam or two yavamim. Rabbi Eliezer says, yafer, right? You could do yafer. What does that mean? Yafer nedareah, right? You could do afarat nedarim, okay? Rabbi Yoshua says, if she fell to one, velo lishnaim. Rabbi Akiva says, lo leechad velo lishnaim. Doesn't matter whether it's one or two, she cannot do the afarat nedarim. So we ask the question, Rabbi Akiva, I understand Rabbi Akiva, why? Savar en zika filu lechad. He says there's no zikah even to one person. Okay, Rabbi Yoshua says lechad yesh zikah, letre in zikah. To one brother, if there's only one brother, so then there is zikah. If there's more than one brother, there's no zikah, because which brother is the one that's going to take her? According to Rabbi Eliezer, even if he's going to hold that there is zikah, even if it's going to be in front of two yevamim, nevertheless, I understand to one you're going to do a afarat nedarim, but to two, why could you do a two afarat nedarim? Right? Why can two of them now come and do a afarat nedarim for this yevamah? So therefore, what we're doing is we're going in shitat Bet Shammai, and according to shitat Bet Shammai, right, that means Rabbi Eliezer is holding like shitat Bet Shammai. It's saying kinyan gamur, that it's 100%. So says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me that the ma'amar does nisuin, so now it makes sense. That's why you could do a afarat nedarim. But if you're going to tell me irusin osa, that it's only doing irusin, how do you do afarat nedarim? You can't do afarat nedarim. Where's parashat afarat nedarim? Right? Yeah. So he says, "Vatna." We learned in the Mishnah, "Nara meorasa via ubala mefarim nedareya." It says, "Nara meorasa." The father, right, or the husband does afarim nedarim. What does that mean? V'yachad. That means each one cannot do it by himself. They need both of them together. Okay. So you need both of them together. It's not either or. It's both of them together. So he comes and he says, "Amram Nachman Yitzchak, my mefer." What does it mean, mefer? Mefer b'shutafut. You're right. The father and the husband does b'shutafut. So therefore, you cannot bring a proof that ma'amar does nisuin, because here also it just means b'shutafut. So if it's b'shutafut, I cannot bring a proof that it means nisuin. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Elazar damar ma'amar lebet Shammai no koneh lidchot l'tzara bilvad. Amay mefer b'shutafut. According to Shitat Rabbi Elazar, that he says in ma'amar according to Bet Shammai, it's not kona. It doesn't do a kinyan gamur, but it's only to push off the tzara. So therefore, why according to Rabbi Eliezer then can you do afarat nedarim b'shutafut with the father? So Rabbi Elazar says Rabbi Elazar, Eimar de'amri ana eno kolen l'chol tzara bilvad telo sagila begita. That it's not enough a get. Ela bayna mi chalitza. Then she needs a get plus chalitza. La'afer nedareya miyamnin. But who's talking about afarat nedarim? Right? Who's talking about that? I'm not talking about that. Or if you want, you could answer another answer. Amalach is going to tell you. Rabbi Elazar is going to tell you. Ulfi Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, going to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, minicha is it good? Mi katani yaferu, yafer katani. It doesn't say yaferu nedareya. It says yafer, singular nedareya. Lashon yachid. So it's mashma that the yavam that does the ma'amar, he's the one that's doing the afarat nedarim. So therefore, if you're going to tell me now nisuin osa, so then it makes sense. That's why it's lashon yachid. But if you're going to tell me it's irusin, so why is it yafer? It should be yaferu. With what are we dealing with? She'amda bedin. Right? What does that mean? She went to the judgment with the yavam, right? Because he didn't want to do yibum or chalitza. Upaskula mezonot mishelo. And then they came and they gave her mezonot from him. Which means if right now he has to decide whether doing chalitza or yibum, and he didn't do it, and she took him to bedin. So now what happens is bedin comes and say, okay, fine, until you decide what you're doing, you have to give her parnasah. You have to give her food. Paskula mezonot. Right? No. We're talking about the brother. We're talking about the brother, not the husband. Right? We're not talking about the original husband that died. It's the brother. Rav Pinchas Mishmei Derava Damar, Rav Pinchas Mishmei Derava, Kol Anoderet Al Dat Bala Inoderet. He comes and he says that any woman that she makes a neder, it's always going to be Al Dat Bala. So therefore, since it's always going to be Al Dat Bala, that's why he could come and he could actually annul any type of the nedarim. So now we're going to come and we're going to give a summary, quick summary, okay, before we finish. Okay, number one, Anachadi Shona, according to the Pirush of Rabbi Ami Bar Ava was, Kavanato of Rabbi Eliezer, remember there were 4 shitot in Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer says, Shomeret Yavam, Ben Yavam Echa, Ben Shnei Yavamim, Yafer. He does Afarat Nedarim. 4 explanations in that. Anachadi Shona was, the Kavanah of Rabbi Eliezer was, that one of the Yavamim does Hafarat Nedarim to the Yevamah by himself, without any shutafut of the father or the brother, and there we're talking about that he did ma'amad. Rabbi Eliezer holds like Bet Shammai, the ma'amad is kinyan gamur, and therefore it's nisuin. That's the first shita. The Dechiyah of Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak was, what are you talking about? Ma'amad only does erutzin. Now when Rabbi Eliezer comes and he says the yavam mefer, it's mefer b'shutafut, the father and the yavam. So that's why he comes and he says that it's coming out that it's keilu. Rabbi Lazar, according to the Pirush Harishon, he comes and he says that even though Ma'amar does not do Kinyan Gamur to be poteret min hatzorah chalitza, nevertheless it's considered ishto to do with Hafarat Nedarim. So again, it doesn't completely take out from a wife, but you're allowed to do Hafarat Nedarim. Rabbi Lazar, according to Pirush Hasheni, is Yafer. It means that he's doing it by himself without the father. So Rabbi Eliezer is talking about a case where the Yevamah is nizonet min ichsei echad yetomim, sorry. And therefore, she's noderet al dato, because since she's coming and she's making a neder, it's al dat, that husband that's giving her the parnasa. So until he decides what to do, whether it's going to be yibum or chalitza, whatever it is, he could still do the afarat nedarim.